It's a lovely good evening today, the 29th of December 2023. To present Camnet Television News, my name is Jeffrey Ziambo. The top stories in the news tonight: the labor movement describes 2023 as a rough year for workers. President Hichilema commits to uphold the declaration of Zambia as a Christian nation. An opposition leader advises government against the self-praise amid the high cost of living. In international news, Felix Tshisekedi edges toward victory in presidential election. And in sports news, FARS lifts ban on veteran administrator Simata. These and more stories coming up shortly.
Introducing Darren B, a touch of class. Are you looking for the perfect place to elevate your style and glam up? Look no further. Darren B Touch of Class is your one-stop destination for hair and makeup transformation. Walk into Darren B and walk out feeling like a star. Your transformation starts here. Call us on 0772 870 588 or WhatsApp on 0972 049 213 to book your appointment today. Payments are made via mobile money or point-of-sale machine. Strictly no cash payments. We are located along Mosi Road in Ibex Hill, fourth close on the left after Kalikiliki Police Post. At Darren B, we pride ourselves on our team of dedicated and trained personnel ready to pamper both women and children. Darren B is open 7 days a week from 0720 hours to 1740 hours. From trendy hairstyles and stylish makeovers to flawless makeup, we do it all. Darren B, a touch of class.
Another news in detail. The Lusaka Magistrates Court has jailed a police reserve officer to 9 months for obtaining money from people on the pretext that he would get them employed in the Zambia Air Force. Prince Kangwa, who pleaded guilty to 1 count of obtaining money by false pretenses, has been sentenced to 9 months imprisonment with hard labor for duping Harrison Mumba and Sharon Mumba 10,000 kwacha. The convict is alleged to have, on the 1st of July 2023, approached the complainant Harrison Mumba on the pretext that he would assist him have his sister Sharon Mumba get a job at ZAF when in fact not. In mitigation, the convict pleaded with the court for mercy and promised never to abrogate the law again. The convict further pleaded with the court for leniency on account that he was a breast cancer patient and sending him to prison for a long time would greatly affect him. Government has told the Constitutional Court that there was no court order to allege any illegality by the act of the Speaker of the National Assembly to recognize Robert Chabinga as leader of the opposition. Submitting on behalf of the Attorney General, Deputy Clerk of the National Assembly Cecilia Mambwe has also told the court that the Speaker has not acted on the letter of expulsion from the Sampa camp. Therefore, the 9 parliamentarians remain members of Parliament. This is in a case where 9 opposition Patriotic Front members of Parliament have filed a petition in the Lusaka High Court contesting their expulsion from the party by PF faction leader Miles Sampa. More in this report.
The ongoing legal battle for the leadership of the opposition Patriotic Front party continues before the courts of law. PF faction leader Miles Sampa has told the Constitutional Court in his latest submissions that the petition commenced against him by the 9 PF members of Parliament is an abuse of the court process because its determination falls within the jurisdiction of the High Court. In this case, the 9 opposition lawmakers, among them Pambashe Area Member of Parliament Ronald Chitotela, Kamfisa Area Member of Parliament Christopher Kangombe, Chilui Area Member of Parliament Mulenga Fube, Porokoso Area Member of Parliament Brian Mundubele, have dragged the Miles Sampa-led faction to the Constitutional Court, contesting their expulsion from the party. The 9 lawmakers were expelled on December 6, 2023 from the party for alleged gross misconduct. They now argue that this was illegal and a nullity as Morgan Ngona and Mr. Sampa, who is also Matero Area Member of Parliament, are not party leaders. Mr. Sampandi's Secretary General Ngona contends that their extraordinary general conference held on October 24th was within the provision of the party constitution. The duo submits that all allegations and reliefs relating to the holding of the PF conventions fall outside the mandate of the court, as they are purely matters of a private nature dealing with private party matters. The duo further claims that the petition by the 9 members of parliament is an attempt to use the constitutional court to serve private expectations or political aspirations of individual members, which does not serve the common good of the party, therefore an abuse of court process. Meanwhile, the state has told the Constitutional Court that there was no court order to allege any illegality by the act of the Speaker of the National Assembly to recognize Robert Chabinga as leader of the opposition. The 9 lawmakers have cited Mr. Sampa, his Secretary General and the Attorney General as first, second and third respondent respectively. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Zambia National Union of Teachers has called on teacher unions in the country to support the validation of a digital curriculum for secondary school learners, which will be implemented in the second quarter of 2024. Union Director of Public Relations Godwin Maseka believes once the compilation of the curriculum is done, the necessary requirements towards implementing the digital curriculum will be seen. Details in this report.
In an era driven by technology, the impact of the digital world cannot be overlooked in all sectors. Given various changes experienced in all sectors, the government embarked on the education curriculum review process, which has seen the government validate the development of a digital curriculum for secondary school learners for 1 million kwacha to be implemented in the second quarter of 2024. Commenting on this development, the Zambia National Union of Teachers, ZANUT, has called on teacher unions to work together to implement the digital curriculum. ZANUT Director of Public Relations Godwin Maseka says there is a need to revisit the infrastructures, teaching materials and teacher training, among others, which he believes will be attained by 2025.
Another process that is going to take place, and this process definitely is going to be the formulation of syllabi. The formulation of syllabi in tandem with what is it that is contained in this curriculum. From there, we expect what we are calling a process of piloting or testing. This testing is going to be taken throughout the country on assumption that in each province 3 districts are going to be given. From there, there is going to be a review of how impactful is this curriculum in as far as the changes that have been made. Now, thereafter now, the full rollout of this curriculum is expected to take place.
Mr. Maseka explains that stakeholders' concerns about the availability of funds should not be a source of worry, but focus on how the teachers will make an impact on the validated digital curriculum to the benefit of the country by way of promoting skills.
All these issues are going to be implemented stage by stage until a time will come to say now we are fully fledged dealing with the newly introduced curriculum. So we are hopeful as the labor movement, and our wish and desire is that all education stakeholders, wherever they are, should come on board to ensure that we support this newly introduced curriculum for the betterment of mothers.
Meanwhile, the National Action for Quality Education in Zambia has called for extra efforts for the digital curriculum to be a success.
In as much as the project sounds very good, in as much as the project is aimed at benefiting the secondary school subsector, we fear that the project may not succeed because a lot of secondary schools are not connected to the internet. A lot of secondary schools have no connection to power, and the best thing that the government can do is to make sure that all secondary schools are connected to power, either hydro or solar, and also making available internet connectivity to all areas in our country. Without these things being done, the project will just be a white elephant.
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Zambia Congress of Trade Unions, ZCTU, has described 2023 as a challenging year for workers and ordinary citizens due to the unstable economic situation in the country. Speaking during the end-of-year media engagement on Monday, ZCTU President Blake Mulala says government should focus on making the country's economy predictable and accelerate pro-poor policy reforms. Meanwhile, Mr. Mulala has challenged the Anti-Corruption Commission to act on the scandals highlighted in the 2022 Auditor General's report for the financial year 2022. Details in this report.
With the annual inflation rate for December 2023 closing at 13.1% from 12.9% recorded in November 2023, and majority of Zambians have consistently raised their concerns on the high cost of living, among others, the Zambia Congress of Trade Union, ZCTU, has called on the government to put in place measures in 2024 to make the country's economy predictable and stabilize the economy.
We've seen high inflation, the rising cost of living, and reduced economic growth, which had an impact on workers, families, and the citizens across the country. While some progress was made, our position as Congress is that much more needs to be done to turn the economy around and create decent work. I repeat that, much more must be done to create more decent work opportunity for the Zambians.
Speaking during an end-of-year media address, ZCTU President Blake Mulala also called on political players to desist from engaging in politics at workplaces and adhere to the provisions of the rule of law, and advise opposition political parties not to stray away from providing the necessary checks and balances.
Sometimes they stray away in their politics by failing to provide the rightful checks and balances. I think they should be able to know what their role is. The role of the opposition is to make sure that they provide the necessary checks and balances, and that they do that, perhaps they'll be able to win the confidence from those who have the power and the mandate to put others on the throne and remove others.
While government has committed to fighting corruption in the country, ZCTU President has challenged the Anti-Corruption Commission to act on the scandals revealed in the 2022 Auditor General's report on parastatals, warning that if nothing is done, it shall be rendered as an academic exercise.
With the responsibility of oversight and managing public resources, should take appropriate action to address matters brought out in the Auditor General's report. Failure to do so, we are making that report academic, ceremonial, and wasting time, wasting the paper, the material, and the time, using taxpayers' money. It's time to stand up and save our country from this cancer. We can no longer leave it, I still repeat, we can no longer leave this in the hands of politicians, because among the politicians, there are some corrupt ones.
The union has also warned entities who are in a habit of shunning minimum wage increases in 2024 to watch out. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Cleaning Association of Zambia, CAS, has petitioned the National Pension Scheme Authority, Napsa, over a cleaning contract worth about 4 million kwacha awarded to a foreign cleaning company. Association President Lawrence Makumbi says the pension company went against the laws of the country, which reserve such contracts for locals. More in this report.
According to media reports, Zambia's largest pension fund, Napsa, has awarded a 4 million kwacha contract for cleaning services to a foreign-owned firm. The reports further indicate that the firm was recently awarded the contract to clean Napsa-owned properties, including Levimo, Napsa headquarters, and regional offices. The award of the contract has infuriated the Cleaning Association of Zambia, who on Friday, December 29, 2023, petitioned the managing director for the pensions company, calling for the cancellation of the contract. Association President Lawrence Makumbi argues that awarding such a huge contract to a foreign entity abrogates the law that stipulates that the cleaning sector is a preserve of local companies. After a lengthy closed-door meeting, Mr. Makumbi updated the media on their engagement, to which he says the company's director has received their petition and promised to look into their concern.
We have had a long discussion, a long meeting with the managing director and his procurement team. We are very happy about the reception that we have been given by the MD. Our petition was in our complaint to have where the contract at Napsa worth almost 4 million kwacha was given to a foreign cleaning company, and the director has assured us that he's going to remedy, is going to find a solution after going through statutory instrument number 22 of 2019.
Mr. Makumbi has insisted that local cleaning firms have the capacity to clean all major establishments in the country.
We have presented our case, and our case is very simple. Cleaning is a preserve of Zambians according to the law, and only Zambians are allowed to do cleaning. The law says cleaning is a preserve of Zambians, and yes, as Zambians, we are proud to say we are able to clean Levy more, we are able to clean all Napsa buildings. Hence, we have asked and presented our case to give us this cleaning contract with 4 million kwacha, which was given to a foreigner.
Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
President Hakainde Hichilema says government is committed to uphold the declaration of Zambia as a Christian nation. Mr. Hichilema says it is for this reason that some ungodly practices, such as same-sex marriages, will never be welcomed in the country. Speaking during the 32-year commemoration of Zambia as a Christian nation, the head of state has challenged citizens to reflect on their actions as Christians. Meanwhile, delivering his homily, Bishop Bionfola has warned that there are opposing forces which are fighting for the control of nations such as Zambia, calling on Christians to defend their faith. The day was commemorated under the theme Zambia, a Christian Nation, Our Heritage and Responsibility. More following report.
President Hakainde Hichilema and Republican Vice President Mutaina Lumango Friday joined hundreds of Christian faithful in commemoration of 32 years of the declaration of Zambia as a Christian nation. The eventful ceremony held under the theme Zambia, a Christian Nation, Our Heritage and Responsibility was characterized with prayer and music, all reinforcing the declaration. In his homily, Bishop Mfula, who is also chairperson for the organizing committee, applauded President Hakainde Hichilema and his vice president for attending the event. Bishop Mfula also urged citizens to guard against the Christian faith as forces opposing the region are fighting for control of nations.
But there's a fight for the soul of a nation and the contamination of the spirit of a nation. Serious battle that we must wake up, as Jude tells us in Jude 3, but contend for the faith that you have received, because there's what will come to fight it. As I speak right now, the enemy is not happy with who we are.
Bishop Mfula also used the opportunity to appeal to the president to gazette the day as a national day of thanksgiving.
This can become our covenant and thanksgiving day. And it feels right at the end of the year. What a better time to and thank God for what he has done in the country and appreciate him for his faithfulness.
Speaking as guest of honor, President Hichilema affirmed the declaration of Zambia as a Christian nation, adding that no alien practices have room in the country.
And we must have the courage as a nation to stand together and say, to this we agree, but to that we disagree. You all know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about LGTB.
The head of state also used the day to call for unity and put his perspective on work straight.
I had a press briefing in this part somewhere, and I talked about I would like to see a country where citizens learn to deny themselves good things, too many good things, and save a little money, and buy some item such as a tractor, so they can produce food. And someone says, no,
The commemoration also saw some individuals and institutions awarded for their work in upholding the declaration of Zambia as a Christian nation. For Camnet TV News, Afias Kaputula, Lusaka.
An economist, Ikawongo Mwiya, says there is need to create production capacities within the country to withstand external pressure on the economy. Mr. Mwiya notes that the country's economy is much affected by external shocks because the country is dependent on importing. Meanwhile, Mr. Mwiya is optimistic that the economic outlook for 2024 will improve if the national budget will be well implemented. Here's a report.
2023 has been one of the most economically trying years of our recent memories, with the cost of living increasing to over 9,100 kwacha for a family of 5, as measured by the Jesuit Center for Theological Reflection, ZCTU. The kwacha too has seen its worst performance against major convertible currencies, such as the United States dollar. Economist Ikawongo Mwiya has suggested the need to create production capacities within the country, which will withstand external pressures on the economy. Mr. Mwiya notes that the country's economy is much affected by external shocks because the country is dependent on importing.
We have really been affected so much by external shocks, and these external shocks, like I said, we are much vulnerable because of the external shocks that come to effect as a result of us being a net importer, meaning most of our transactions are such that we import more than we export, and this has affected us as a country to make sure that we are able to grow to the capacity that we intend to grow. As a result, as a country, we need to ensure that we diversify, we create internal measures to try and cushion the effects. Otherwise, we will not be able to always say, well, we have external shocks and that's why our economy is underperforming. So to prop up the performance of the economy, we need to ensure that we create production capacities within Zambia that are able to allow us to withstand the external pressure.
Meanwhile, Mr. Mwiya is optimistic that the economic outlook for 2024 will improve if the national budget will be well implemented.
So in terms of 2024, I think we have an optimistic budget. We have seen that there's increase in social spending. There are also different sectors that have been identified in the budget that government has actually dedicated a colossal amount to some of those sectors. And if we are able to achieve that budget, we are able to follow through and be able to get the most out of it. I think we should be able to have a more macroeconomically stable environment in 2024 compared to what we have experienced this year.
As at close of business Friday, December 29th, 2023, $1 was trading at 25 kwacha 96 ngwe. Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
Patriots for Economic Progress leader Sean Tembo says President Hakainde Hichilema has failed to inspire the nation over the cost of living in his end-of-year address. Mr. Tembo says, as opposed to giving a direction over the economic challenges the country is facing, Mr. Hichilema dwelled on self-praise. Speaking during a press conference Friday morning, Mr. Tembo added that the head of state is not being sincere by attributing the country's economic challenges to the debt, as the country is not currently servicing its debt. More in this report.
Patriots for Economic Progress leader Sean Tembo has joined stakeholders reacting to President Hakainde Hichilema's end-of-year press conference. The December 22nd end-of-year press conference has attracted a debate among stakeholders, especially opposition political party leaders. Reflecting on President Hakainde Hichilema's presser Friday morning, Mr. Tembo says the head of state failed to inspire citizens as he could not give concrete measures to address the country's ailing economy. He adds that Mr. Hichilema is not being sincere to attribute the country's economic turmoil to date when repayments are on hold.
An honest opinion. It is something that is not a sincere opinion, because once we start repaying the debt, it means that there will be less money available in the nation to allocate to other needy areas. So the economy is supposed to be performing better now when there is a suspension on debt repayments, then it is supposed to perform once we start repaying our debt as soon as the debt restructuring agreement is finalized.
Meanwhile, Mr. Tembo has also expressed dismay on what he terms existing selective application of justice in the country, which is contrary to what was propagated by the head of state in his press conference.
Men and women is clear hate speech, and yet up to now the police have not acted on that, despite a complaint being filed with the Zambia police. Up to now, we've seen that the Copperbelt Minister, Honorable Elisha Matambo, referred to the opposition as hyenas. That, countrymen and women, is insulting language. It is also hate speech. But up to now, we have seen that the police have not moved on the Copperbelt Minister. That, countrymen and women, is selective justice.
For Camnet TV News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
The Persons with Disabilities Political Dialogue chairperson has challenged political parties and the general public to support persons with disabilities in political spaces. Speaking during the end-of-year press conference, Ms. Josephine Shinaka says that a total of 81 persons with disabilities have acquired adequate knowledge and skills to actively participate in politics, and over 50% joined political parties of their choice. Meanwhile, Technical Working Group Chairperson Kavumbu Hakachima says they are hoping the government will take the lead so that persons with disabilities fully participate in politics.
On August 22nd, 2023, the Zambia National Women's Lobby partnered with Disability Rights Watch and implemented a project aimed at enhancing political participation of persons with disabilities. The project, titled Strengthening the Political Participation of Persons with Disabilities in Zambia, reached out to political parties and persons with disabilities in order to help establish and strengthen inclusive political party systems in which persons with disabilities have equal access and influence in decision-making processes. Speaking during the end-of-year press conference, Persons with Disabilities Political Dialogue Network chairperson Josephine Shinaka reveals that 81 persons with disabilities have acquired knowledge and skills to actively participate in politics, and that all the 8 political parties under the project are exhibiting a positive attitude towards including persons with disabilities in their systems. Ms. Shinaka has also challenged political parties to support persons with disabilities and urged persons with disabilities to avail themselves to political parties of their choice and participate in decision-making processes.
81 persons with disabilities have acquired adequate knowledge and skills to actively participate in politics, and at least over 50% of the participants joined political parties of their choice. The public may wish to know that there is a functioning Persons with Disabilities Political Dialogue Network in Lusaka and Napsa, whose main objective is to continue with the advocacy work for inclusion of persons with disabilities. Ladies and gentlemen, the network has been engaging political parties over inclusion of persons with disabilities in their parties. Further, they took advantage of the International Day of Persons with Disabilities, where they participated as well as using the media to raise awareness.
Meanwhile, Technical Group Chairperson for Persons with Disabilities, Kavumbu Hakachima, urges the government to take the lead and not leave persons with disabilities behind in politics.
We are going to embark mostly on collaboration. I just want to emphasize that in this very important process, to ensure that the issues of disability inclusion are taken with the seriousness that they need. One of our major critical players will be the government itself, because the government does ensure the implementation of our policies and our laws in the country. So we are hoping to be guided, to be led by our own government, so that persons with disabilities may also be part and parcel of our different developmental programs in this country.
Cherish Sibote for Camnet News, Lusaka.
We'll go for a break. Join us for more news shortly after the break.
Potatoes, the unsung heroes of flavor. From crispy chips to creamy mash, potatoes are the versatile superstars of your kitchen. Grown with love by our dedicated workforce drawn from around the community of Palavana. Savenda Farm's commitment is to see to it that we have potatoes that are grown right, healthy, big and tasty. For that quick fix or big celebration or that meal that brings family together, top chefs rely on the Savenda potato to create culinary masterpieces. And for others, it's that icebreaker to a delightful conversation. So, embrace the magic of Savenda potatoes. They're not just a side dish, they're the heart and soul of your kitchen. Savenda, save nations, develop Africa.
Introducing Darren B, a touch of class. Are you looking for the perfect place to elevate your style and glam up? Look no further. Darren B Touch of Class is your one-stop destination for hair and makeup transformation. Walk into Darren B and walk out feeling like a star. Your transformation starts here. Call us on 0772 870 588 or WhatsApp on 0972 049 213 to book your appointment today. Payments are made via mobile money or point-of-sale machine. Strictly no cash payments. We are located along Mossy Road in Ibex Hill, fourth close on the left after Kalikiliki Police Post. At Darren B, we pride ourselves on our team of dedicated and trained personnel ready to pamper both women and children. Darren B is open 7 days a week from 0720 hours to 1740 hours. From trendy hairstyles and stylish makeovers to flawless makeup, we do it all. Darren B, a touch of class.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. Rain Glow, your smart irrigation partner.
Welcome back. We continue with Camnet Television main news. President Hakainde Hichilema has appointed Justice Minister Mulambo Haimbe as Acting Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation Minister after the resignation of Stanley Kakubo. According to a circular by Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Etambuyo Anamela, Mr. Haimbe will act in this capacity until a substantive minister is appointed. On December 26, 2023, Stanley Kakubo resigned as Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation after public backlash on an alleged corrupt financial scandal involving about $300,000 US. The Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock in Solwezi District has distributed livestock through the Scaling Up Nutrition Phase 2 program to about 100 beneficiaries. The Solwezi District Program Coordinator Frank Luya says that the beneficiaries have been trained on how to formulate and grow feed for the livestock that have been distributed to them. Mr. Luya was speaking to the National Agricultural Information Services in Solwezi during the distribution of the livestock. Here's a report.
In a quest to combat stunting in Solwezi District, the Ministry of Livestock, through the Scaling Up Nutrition Phase 2 program, has distributed 35 goats, 312 quails, and 270 improved village chickens to about 100 Santu beneficiaries. The livestock officers explain the importance of the exercise.
These are chickens that are 5 months old. So anytime soon they will start dropping the eggs. So from these chickens, each one of you is getting 1 cock and 4 hens. That is what we expect you to pass on to the next beneficiary once you have the offspring. Eh? You also you pass on 5 chickens. Once you pass on, it's whatever remains, it's your production. You want to see your production increasing so that at least that child can have an egg
The role of the department is basically to make sure that the beneficiaries are equipped with the necessary skills in terms of disease control and of course the feeding of the goats that they have received today.
Frank Luya is the Solwezi District San 2 coordinator.
They were taught by the Minister of Livestock on how to make feed using the available local resources like the food, which will help to improve the health of the same chickens. Then they are also taught on how to administer medicine.
The beneficiaries have expressed gratitude. We are grateful for the goats that we have received. We'll be able to take care of them so that we're able to pass them on to our friends in this same area. These chickens that we have received, we are supposed to treat them with medicine when they are sick, and when we are unable to treat them, we are supposed to go to the veterinary office to seek for help. Chapunga Manengu, reporting for NICE in Solwezi District.
We'll take our second and final break. We have international sports news coming up shortly after this break.
Introducing Darren B, a touch of class. Are you looking for the perfect place to elevate your style and glam up? Look no further. Darren B Touch of Class is your one-stop destination for hair and makeup transformation. Walk into Darren B and walk out feeling like a star. Your transformation starts here. Call us on 0772 870 588 or WhatsApp on 0972 049 213 to book your appointment today. Payments are made via mobile money or point-of-sale machine. Strictly no cash payments. We are located along Mossy Road in Ibex Hill, fourth close on the left after Kalikiliki Police Post. At Darren B, we pride ourselves on our team of dedicated and trained personnel ready to pamper both women and children. Darren B is open 7 days a week from 0720 hours to 1740 hours. From trendy hairstyles and stylish makeovers to flawless makeup, we do it all. Darren B, a touch of class.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. Rain Glow, your smart irrigation partner.
Welcome back. And now in international news, a sweeping victory for incumbent President Felix Tshisekedi in the December 2021 elections in the Democratic Republic of Congo seemed assured on Thursday evening as partial results became increasingly consistent, officially giving him 76% of the vote. Of the 12.5 million votes counted by the Electoral Commission (CENI), 60-year-old Felix Tshisekedi, who is seeking a second five-year term, obtained 9.5 million votes. He was followed by businessman and former governor of Katanga Southeast, Moise Katumbi, with 16.5%, and another opponent, Martin Fayulu, with 4.4%. The 20 or so other candidates on the ballot, including Nobel Peace Prize winner Denis Mukwege, failed to reach 1%. Nearly 44 million voters out of a total population of around 100 million were called to the polls. Here's a round of international news for more.
A victory almost certain. On Thursday evening, incumbent Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi seemed assured as partial results became increasingly consistent, officially giving him 76% of the December 2021 vote. Of the 12.5 million votes counted by the Electoral Commission, 60-year-old Felix Tshisekedi, who is seeking a second five-year term, has so far obtained 9.5 million. He was followed by businessman and former governor of Katanga in the southeast, Moise Katumbi, who's polled 16.5%, and another opponent, Martin Fayulu, with 4.4%. The 20 or so other candidates on the ballot, including Nobel Peace Prize winner Denis Mukwege, failed to reach 1%. The Electoral Commission has not yet established a voter turnout in the polls, even though nearly 44 million voters were registered for the quadruple ballots. If declared winner by the Electoral Commission, Tshisekedi will be running the DRC for a second and final 5-year term. The opposition have accused the government of planning fraud and have called on their supporters to be vigilant. Some opposition candidates described the elections as total chaos.
Israeli forces have fired tear gas on young Palestinians who are trying to get into Al-Aqsa Mosque for Friday prayers. We have Laura Khan joining us now from occupied East Jerusalem. So, Laura, tell us what's been going on around the compounds of Al-Aqsa Mosque.
Absolutely. Now, we're in a place called Wadi Joz, which is around less than 100 meters away from the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound. That's just up the road. Now, just behind me, there have been some young Palestinians. I just want to show you this. There's a tear gas canister actually rolling its way down the hill. So a number of young Muslim worshippers, and now we have a water skunk truck, which has been spraying water towards Palestinians and Muslim worshippers. This actually produces an awful smell which has been drifting in the air. So they have been attacked by tear gas grenades. We actually got it pretty bad when they first started shooting, and you can smell the skunk water. It's pretty nasty. Now, the reason why there are these confrontations is since October the 7th, there has been vast restrictions on Muslims entering the place they revere as the third holiest place in Islam, the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound. So they're only allowing anyone over 45, but even then they can restrict them. In the last 2 weeks, we've only seen around 3,000 to 4,000, whereas usually you'd have between 50 and 60,000 people praying in the mosque. So there's been real tension here. There has been condemnations by the Palestinian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and they also condemned attacks on journalists, specifically here in Wadi Joz. But people I've been speaking to say, what are these condemnations and what does it actually mean to them on the ground? The Israelis are also saying the reason why they're restricting them is in order to prevent confrontations. They say this is causing exactly that. So you can see there's police blocking areas. The young people have now gone down the hill, and we've just seen various lineups of police coming up and down the hill. So we will keep you updated as to what's happening.
All right, Laura, we will cross back to you a little later on. For the time being, thank you for that update from occupied East Jerusalem.
Chad's Supreme Court has validated the results of the referendum for a new constitution organized by the military junta that has been in power for the past 2.5 years. According to the final results, the yes side won with 85.90% of the vote, while the no side polled 14.10%. A 62.8% voter turnout was recorded for the referendum, according to the President of the Supreme Court. The Apex Court on Thursday rejected an appeal by the Bloc Federal, an opposition coalition which had called for the results to be annulled on the grounds of several irregularities in the voting process. The referendum, which was conducted on Monday, is seen as a key step intended to pave the way for elections in the Central African country at the end of 2024. But for some members of the opposition and civil society who had called for a boycott, the result of the ballot resembles a plebiscite designed to pave the way for the election of the transitional president, General Mahama Idris Deby. Observers have noted that the new constitutional text is not very different from the one already in force, but it gives great power to the head of state.
And in our sports news tonight, the Football Association of Zambia, FAZ, has lifted the lifetime ban it imposed on former FAZ president and football administrator Simata Simata in 2018. Simata, who was serving as general manager of City of Lusaka Football Club at the time of the ban, was found guilty of unethical conduct by the FAS Ethics Committee in April 2018. The violation, deemed contrary to Article 13, Cap 3 of the 2012 FIFA Code of Ethics, involved circulating illegally obtained FAS documents on social media and to various institutions, allegedly with the aim of discrediting FAS officials and damaging the association's reputation. However, after a lengthy review, the Ethics Committee has reversed its decision. FAS General Secretary Ruben Kamanga confirmed the decision, stating that the Ethics Committee met in Lusaka this week and unanimously voted to lift the ban and all associated sanctions.
The update is about the life ban that was imposed on former FAS president and football administrator Mr. Smata by the Ethics Committee on the 25th of April in 2018. At that time, the Ethics Committee banned Mr. Smata for life, effectively banning him from all football activities as an individual. And so that ban has been into effect until this week, when the Ethics Committee met in Lusaka and reviewed its own decision and decided to lift the ban that was imposed on Mr. Smata. And I'll read the adjudicatory chamber of the Ethics Committee, which says, and I quote, "Given all the circumstances surrounding this matter, the Ethics Committee, guided by established standard principles of comfortable satisfaction and personal conviction of the panel, forthwith lifts the life ban sanction imposed on Mr. Smata on the 25th of April 2018. So, effectively, that ban has been lifted and all the sanctions that were imposed on Mr. Smata have been removed. That is the announcement.
That FAS story brings us to the end of our news tonight. Before we go, the top stories once again. The labor movement describes 2023 as a rough year for workers. President Hichilema commits to uphold the declaration of Zambia as a Christian nation. An opposition leader advises government against self-praise amid the high cost of living. In international news, Felix Tshisekedi edges toward victory in presidential election. And in sports news, FAS lifts ban on veteran administrator Simata. Our Camnet verse of the day is coming from the book of Ezekiel 34 verse 12. As a shepherd looks after his scattered flock when he is with them, so will I look after my sheep. I will rescue them from all the places where they were scattered on a day of clouds and darkness. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo, and thank you for watching Camnet Television Main News. Bye-bye.